So my name is Arby, and I'm from Brooklyn. I'm a student here. And today I'm here at the United Nations General Assembly. And it's the first time I've been here. I've never been here before. And I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of developments, what kind of speakers, and who is coming to speak. And I'm just really curious about everything that's going to happen.
How are you? My name is Mark Gergs. I come from a school in Brooklyn. We're here with a school from the Bronx called Charter 1. I thought it was a very rare opportunity to come in here and see the United Nations and explore new opportunities. I also came here to form new connections with people, whether they're doing voluntary work or aid or working directly with the United Nations in order to help and change the world. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Yang Ziguo. So I'm very appreciated that today is go to the UN, go the women and the children the meeting. So today I participate in the United Nations Conference on the women's and the children's the right for the first time on behalf of the world. President of the Media Foundation and going to take a lot from the balance between the connect and the educations. So I'm very appreciative. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Eileen Dawn. I'm a Global Goals 16th Ambassador, Peace, Justice, and Strong Institution. I'm the founder and executive director of Who Picks Global. It's a nonprofit organization that supports survivors of human trafficking, domestic violence, and sexual assault. I'm excited to be here at the General Assembly today, attending the Global Engagement Summit. This afternoon, there will be a session of our Global Goals ambassadors to introduce to you about the 17 Sustainable Development Goals and how it intersects with our everyday life, particularly with gender equity and gender-based violence and human rights. Tune in, and I look forward to seeing you all. Thank you.
Peace TV reporters have been active at the UN headquarters since 2010, the age of former UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon. They are often invited to gather pictures and news about high-level meetings and events at the UN headquarters. We usually report live on the scene the events of dozens of countries, including the US, France, the UK, Israel, Germany, Russia, Egypt, Kuwait, Bulgaria, Ukraine, and Morocco, and the EU at the UN headquarters and their residences in New York. Our news reports have, in part, kept the international community up to date with the work of different governments so that people everywhere will know the great efforts and contributions of the UN to world peace, international affairs, and multilateralism.
In addition to championing the UN's founding, UNA USA has two other unique connections to the UN. First, we are proud to have had First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt, as one of our earliest members and later a chairperson. Gina, raise your hands. There they are. Lois and Gina will be located outside the GA Hall during the lunch break to share with you the renderings of the monument and how you can support this initiative and keep Eleanor Roosevelt's legacy alive. Speaking of legacy, what will be our legacy as a global community? 80 years from now, how will history answer the questions about our time on this planet? Were we able to get humanitarian aid to those who needed it? Did we protect the Earth's rich diversity? Did we do everything to include young people in decisions about policies that impact them? Did we push for gender equality for girls and women in every aspect of their lives? UNA USA members have always known that our legacy is not only in the hands of leaders that sit in these seats and in government buildings around the world. Our legacy also involves us and everyone in our communities, because it will take a collective action to make positive impact for people and planet. It's also important to note that these global challenges cannot wait for another 80 years. As Eleanor Roosevelt once said, surely in the light of history, it is more intelligent to hope rather than to fear, to try rather than not to try. For one thing we know, beyond all doubt, nothing has ever been achieved by the person who says it can't be done. So thank you once again for being here today and for all the great work you have done to this point, from advocating for full US funding for the UN, to educating your communities about the Sustainable Development Goals, to helping the hungry and the unhoused, just to name a few. Through these actions and more to come, I know the possibility of a great legacy is real. Before I bring up our first guest speaker, I would like to recognize the individuals who made today happen. Thank you to the Global Engagement Summit Planning Committee, who are led by Chair Bettina Hausman and Vice Chair Sanskriti Deva, and Farah Eck, UNA USA Senior Director of Programs and Policies, for their hard work and leadership. Please stand so we all can give you a round of applause. And now, it is my honor to welcome Varsha Thibault, Senior Advisor to the CEO at the Eleanor Crook Foundation. Prior to joining ECF, Varsha was a research analyst at the World Bank, a research fellow at the Georgetown Institute of Women, Peace and Security, and a consultant for numerous organizations, including the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, Qatar Foundation, Bayer, and Coca-Cola, where she collaborated with key global stakeholders to work at the intersection of economic development and global health. We are pleased Varsha is here to represent the Eleanor Crook Foundation, supporting us today for the Global Engagement Summit and the UNA USA Fellowship Program, which provides grants to American students who obtain internships at the UN. We are thankful for their commitment to this work. So please welcome Varsha Thibault.
It's an honor to be here at the Global Engagement Summit and to participate today in the mission of UNA USA to inspire, educate, and mobilize. Thank you for the opportunity to address this incredible gathering of changemakers. My name is Varsha Thibault, and I'm a senior advisor at the Eleanor Crook Foundation, also known as ECF. ECF is proud to partner with the UN Foundation and its many important initiatives and programs, including the summit. The theme of pushing forward for people and planet is one that ECF believes in deeply, because we believe in taking bold action to achieve great impact. I'd like to tell you a bit about the Eleanor Crook Foundation and our vision for a better world, and maybe share a bit of my story. ECF is a US-based private philanthropy focused exclusively on one cause: eradicating global malnutrition. And we approach this mission with hope, because while there are many problems facing our world that will take years to solve, malnutrition is not one of them. We could end child deaths by malnutrition in our lifetime. And yet, malnutrition remains a global crisis. It is the #1 killer of children worldwide, killing more kids each year than malaria, tuberculosis, and HIV and AIDS combined. Every 11 seconds, a child dies from malnutrition, which means that by the time I'm finished speaking here, malnutrition will have claimed the lives of 30 children. And for those who do survive, malnutrition plays an insidious role in undermining their future. I have a rather intimate understanding of the grip of malnutrition and its tragic impacts on a community. I grew up in an area of Pakistan so remote that until recently it could not even be found with Google Earth. The rural community where I was born suffers tremendously from drought. And as recently as 2021, malnutrition was considered an emergency in my province.
Good morning, everyone. What a room. Give yourself a round of applause. Welcome to the UN General Assembly and welcome to the 2024 Global Engagement Summit. I am Elizabeth Cousins. I have the great privilege of leading the UN Foundation, and I am so delighted to see UNA USA in this room and in such force. And a very warm welcome to possibly the youngest member of UNA USA. Somewhere in this room is 5-year-old Elizabeth and her mom Shirley, so welcome to you as well. More than 1,000 of you are here. You're sitting in the seats where delegates from every country on the planet come to debate the issues and decisions that will shape our collective future. From the risks and opportunities of AI, to the climate emergency, to the terrible toll of conflict and crisis in the lives of too many innocent people around the world, to the fight for democratic rights, which this morning's news reminds us again is a persistent struggle. It's clear from looking around this historic hall, Americans from all corners of the country are deeply committed to the UN's mission, its values, and its purpose, and we need champions like you more than ever. It's no secret that the UN and everything it stands for is under pressures like it's never faced in its 80-year history. We're all under pressures like we've never faced, as individuals and as a global community. We're more connected than ever. We're more vulnerable than ever. We have more opportunity than ever, and huge forces of history, technology, nature are bearing down on us and converging in very complex ways that need us to cooperate as never before. Now, it's also no secret that cooperation is harder today than at probably any time in our collective memory. You know, last year people started talking about this concept of the poly crisis, where crises, challenges, and risks seem to pop up every day and need us to act on everything, everywhere, all at once. Well, today I hear people talking more about the idea of permacrisis, where emergencies from climate to conflict could become so endemic that crisis response becomes our new normal.
My ask of you is this: continue taking on hard, complex questions. Find common ground with people you disagree with. And even as we deal with this immediate crisis, help us move toward a better future. You have a role to play in advocating for a durable peace, where Israelis and Palestinians live side by side with equal measures of security and dignity in two democratic states of their own. There's another ask I have for you, and it is this: help us shine a spotlight on the uncovered issues of our time: the persecution of Uyghurs in China, the attacks on the fundamental human rights of women and girls in Afghanistan, the horrific conflict in Sudan, which has displaced roughly 8 million people. Late last year, I visited a refugee camp on the Sudanese border and met with young girls who'd fled their homes in search of safety and had to give up their education. One young girl told me that she had lost her ambition. That young girl is just about your age. And but for the accident of time and place, she is no different from you. As you take on positions of power, remember this young girl and so many like her.
Thank you very much, dear Elizabeth, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak from a podium that I don't usually get to speak from. But most importantly, I have to say it's always a great pleasure to interact with the membership of the UN Association of the US and all of you others who are committed to supporting the ideals of the United Nations, the ideal we strive to achieve every day in our work here, and I know that you strive to achieve every day in your work or wherever you are in the US. To say that we are living in challenging times would be a slight understatement. I think Elizabeth talking about the perma-crises really encapsulates the time that we are living in right now. Just a few days ago, and from this very podium, our Secretary General Antonio Guterres laid out his vision of the world for 2024. He noted that the one thing that is dramatically missing from our lives in all its aspects is peace. Peace in all its dimensions, peace between nations, peace between peoples, peace within societies, and I would say almost most importantly, peace with nature. Peace is the cornerstone of our work and our hopes, and it should be the cornerstone of all our collective efforts. And at times like this, when the going gets tough, we look to the future perhaps with a bit of apprehension, that we have to redouble our efforts to live up to the ideals of the Charter of the United Nations, the ideals of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and the concrete goals of the Sustainable Development Goals.
The cell phone. I know a lot of people, I saw people taking photos up here. Definitely use the hashtag GES 2024 when you post those photos. Shameless plug. And who here has utilized the internet at some point? Yep. All of us. So this conversation is very, very relevant, which is why I'm very excited to have these two experts in technology and the intersection of technology and human rights here with me. Would you like to go ahead and introduce yourselves?
Sure. Hi, everyone. It's such a pleasure to be here. My name's Ursula Wijnhoven, and I represent a UN agency called the ITU, the International Telecommunication Union. It's the Agency for Digital Tech, and I'm based here at the UN in New York and represent them at the United Nations.
Microbes that fix nitrogen in the soil actually function. We know what the molecule is that does it. If they call it FOMO, it's a very complex molecule. We can diagram it out beautifully, but we don't know how it works. And we should be able to understand that with the kind of quantum computers we should have in a decade or so. And just being able to understand that gives us the possibility to knock off 2%, roughly 1.5 to 2% of the carbon output of humanity. These are not small things, and so I'm really excited about that.
So, Ursula, you have a different side of the coin to talk about. Would you like to go into that?
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree that there's so much exciting potential when we're looking at emerging technologies. We did some research, for instance, that looked at the Sustainable Development Goals targets and found that at least 70% of them could be accelerated if we better use digital technologies. But a key enabling factor for that is to make sure we get them in the hands of more people. But we still have 2.6 billion people in the world who've never ever been online, and many, many more who don't have reliable, affordable, meaningful access. And so I think the combination of that inclusion piece, which hasn't really kept pace with the exciting pace of technology, if we can address that, combined with the power of emerging technologies and using them inclusively, responsibly, sustainably, the sky's the limit. So I'm very excited about that.
Amazing.
Here within Brooklyn, how does one do that? Well, we need to help areas that are still developing to build up infrastructure. And we also need to establish means of digital security over people's communication. Because when it's no longer a question of a specific wire from point to point that is owned by a specific person, things become complex, things become harder to manage, and you have to think security at the same time as you're thinking about ratification.
Agreed, and I feel like both of your answers so far have focused on accessibility of technology. And even though to the average person, Google and IT might seem very different, there seems to be a lot of overlap there. So my next question is, how can we structure partnerships between the private sector, with companies like Google
T actually stood for the telegraph, is that we're also a multi-stakeholder entity. We have 193 member states and over 900 private sector, civil society and academic members who are involved in the work. And I think that's so exciting and important because when you're talking about issues like development and connectivity and standards, we really need to involve.
Move it. We like to
move it.
Nice. Akash, you like to move it. Move it.
Come on.
I like to move it. We like to
move it.
Yes, that's the spirit. I like to move it. I like to move it. You like to move it. Yes. I like to move it. I like to move it. You
like to
move it. I like to move it. You like to move it. We like to move it. Yes.
Right.
Akash,
I like
what
to
do you do?
Move it.
Make the announcement. You like to
like
what?
to move it. Hey. And we, come on.
So we're moving it. Before you guys move, yeah.
We've got a quick challenge. An opportunity for you guys to win some prizes. So before you guys, all right, John, you got this? Come on, John.
That's
all right.
right.
Before you leave, everybody with us? With us?
Everyone here?
All right.
Who
So
likes
we're
to
going to
move it?
model this challenge for you. And then we're going to pick 5 to 7 people who are going to be doing the same. So we ready for the challenge?
Only 5 till 7. So
all right, ready for the challenge? All right, Bettina, we got this. John, we got this?
We got this.
All right, let's do it. We're going to take a selfie. We're going to model that. All right, you got this?
Got it.
Bettina,
We
ready?
got this. We're
3,
modeling
2, and...
Woo!
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the hashtag for today's event is USA for UN and GES 2024. We'll pick 5 to 7.
Only 5 to 7.
5 to 7 posts from Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook. They're going to be the lucky ones that will be featured in our second Mindful Moment break.
Exactly, and get even a little extra.
All right.
A little swag.
Looking
Who
forward to
doesn't
it.
like swag, right?
All right, let's go. Who wants some USA swag? Let's go. Let's get to posting.
USA for UN, you can't forget it. It's right in front of you. So please, hashtag away, people. Even the more senior people like me. Come on. Let's show it how it's been done.
We're going to lead the way, right? We're going to lead the way by posting the selfie.
All right.
All right, thank you, everybody.
Excellent. I see all the photos going. Awesome.
Well, that and the no, it was the